Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Not after buying a new car, not after taking an expensive vacation, not after making some huge financial mistake. Just gone. A coffee here, a late-night online order there, a streaming subscription you forgot existed, a few impulse purchases because they were on sale. Somehow, hundreds of dollars disappeared, without you even noticing. Now imagine this. Two people earn exactly the same salary. Both work the same hours. Both live in the same city. Both dream of owning a home, traveling the world, and retiring comfortably. Fast forward 10 years. One has built a six-figure investment portfolio. The other is buried in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, wondering why life feels so unfair. What happened? Was one person simply luckier? Did one inherit money? Did one win the lottery? No. The difference wasn't found in their income. It was hidden inside tiny daily decisions that nobody noticed. Because wealth isn't usually destroyed overnight. It's quietly leaked away, one unnecessary purchase at a time. And the most dangerous part? Overspending rarely feels like overspending. It feels like rewarding yourself, treating yourself, celebrating, saving money because something was 50% off. But today, you're about to discover 10 surprisingly simple habits that quietly stop people from overspending forever. These aren't extreme budgeting hacks. You won't have to stop enjoying life. You won't have to give up everything you love. Instead, you'll learn how small shifts in the way you think about money can completely change your financial future. And trust me, habit number 1 is so simple that most people ignore it. Yet it's the reason many financially successful people never seem stressed about money. Stay with me until the end, because one of these habits could save you thousands of dollars every single year. Welcome to Ego Money, the channel where we simplify personal finance, wealth building, smart investing, and money psychology so you can create financial freedom, no matter where you're starting from. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you want to stop wondering where your money disappeared every month, or if you're serious about building wealth one smart decision at a time, you're in the right place. Before we jump in, take 1 second to hit that subscribe button, because every week we share practical financial strategies that can literally change your future. Now, let's begin with a habit that most people don't even realize is costing them thousands of dollars. Let's start with a story. Meet Emily. Emily wasn't irresponsible. She had a good job. She paid her bills on time. She wasn't addicted to luxury brands. In fact, if you asked her friends, they'd tell you she was pretty good with money. Yet every month, her savings account stayed almost empty. She couldn't understand why. One evening after a particularly stressful day at work, Emily stopped by Target to buy toothpaste. That was the plan. 5 minutes later, she walked out with scented candles, decorative pillows, a new coffee mug, a cozy blanket, a water bottle she didn't need, and a few snacks she hadn't planned to buy. Her receipt? Almost $170. When she got home, she realized something. She hadn't bought those things because she needed them. She bought them because, for a few minutes, shopping made her feel better. Sound familiar? The truth is, retail therapy is real. Not because shopping actually solves your problems, but because it temporarily tricks your brain into believing it has. Every time you buy something new, your brain releases dopamine. That's the same chemical linked to excitement, anticipation, and pleasure. The problem? Dopamine fades quickly. The happiness lasts minutes, sometimes hours. But the credit card bill? That can stick around for months. Think about how often advertisers connect products to emotions. Had a tough week? Treat yourself. You deserve this. Reward yourself. Notice something? They're rarely selling the product. They're selling the feeling. Because emotions are one of the biggest triggers for overspending. Stress, loneliness, boredom, anxiety, even happiness. People celebrate promotions by buying expensive gadgets. Celebrate birthdays by overspending. Celebrate vacations by forgetting their budgets entirely. The purchase isn't really about the item. It's about chasing a feeling. Financially successful people understand something different. They never confuse emotional relief with financial progress. Instead of shopping when they're stressed, they've built replacement habits. Some go for a walk. Others work out. Some call a friend. Some journal. Some cook. Others simply sleep on the decision. Because emotions always settle, and when they do, the urge to buy usually disappears too. Here's something you can try this week. The next time you're about to buy something unexpectedly, pause for just 1 minute. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1. What emotion am I feeling right now? Question 2. If I were perfectly calm, would I still buy this? Question 3. Will owning this make my life better next month? Or just today? Those 3 questions can stop hundreds of unnecessary purchases every year. Remember, the goal isn't to stop spending. The goal is to stop using spending as emotional medicine. Because no shopping bag has ever cured stress. And no package arriving at your front door has ever permanently fixed loneliness. Feelings pass. Debt often doesn't. Now here's the interesting part. Even when people aren't emotional, there's another invisible force that quietly empties their bank account. It's called impulse. And that's exactly what habit number 9 is designed to destroy. Imagine you're scrolling through your phone late at night. An ad appears. It's a pair of wireless headphones. They're beautiful. The reviews are excellent. Better yet, they're 40% off. A timer flashes across the screen. Sale ends in 18 minutes. Your heart beats a little faster. You don't want to miss out. So, you click, you buy, and for the next few minutes, you feel amazing, until 3 days later, the package arrives. You open it, use it twice. Then it ends up sitting in a drawer with dozens of other purchases that once felt essential. This isn't an accident, it's psychology. Retailers spend billions of dollars studying one simple question: how do we make people buy before they think? That's why you'll constantly see phrases like, only 2 left, limited stock, exclusive offer, ends tonight, don't miss out. They're creating urgency because urgency shuts down careful thinking. When your brain believes time is running out, it starts making emotional decisions instead of rational ones. That's where the 24-hour rule becomes one of the most powerful financial habits you can build. Here's how it works. Whenever you want to buy something that wasn't already part of your budget, wait 24 hours. That's it. Don't tell yourself you can never buy it. Just delay the decision. Because something incredible happens when you give your emotions time to cool down. The excitement fades, the urgency disappears, and logic finally gets a chance to speak. A surprising number of people discover they don't even want the item anymore, not because they forced themselves to go without it, but because they realized they were buying the emotion, not the product. Let's go back to Emily. After recognizing her emotional spending habits, she added one simple rule. Anything she hadn't planned to buy had to wait until the next day. The first week, she delayed 7 purchases. By the next morning, she bought only 1. The other 6, she couldn't even remember why they felt so important. At the end of 3 months, Emily looked at her bank statement. Without earning a single extra dollar, she had saved over $1,200 simply by waiting before buying. Think about that. Not through extreme budgeting, not through suffering, just through patience. And here's the beautiful part. Patience is free. Before we continue, let's pause for just a second. So far, you've learned something that many people spend years discovering. Overspending isn't usually caused by a lack of income. It's caused by small, repeated decisions that seem harmless in the moment. Shopping to escape emotions, buying before thinking. Those habits slowly drain your financial future. Now we're moving into 2 habits that may seem incredibly simple. But don't let that fool you. These are habits billion-dollar companies spend billions of dollars trying to make you ignore. Because if you master these 2 habits, you'll become dramatically harder to influence. And that's exactly what marketers don't want. Imagine this. It's Saturday morning. Your refrigerator is almost empty. You tell yourself, I'm only going to the grocery store for milk, eggs, bread, and chicken. Simple, quick, 15 minutes. That's the plan. But the moment you walk through the automatic doors, everything changes. Fresh bread fills the air. Colorful fruit is stacked perfectly at the entrance. Large signs scream, buy one, get one free. A giant display announces, limited time savings. Another aisle promises, customers' favorite picks. Suddenly, you remember you might need snacks. Then you notice a new coffee flavor. A frozen pizza sounds convenient. A family-sized pack of cookies is on sale. Then you think, I may as well grab a few drinks while I'm here. 45 minutes later, you leave the store. Your cart is overflowing. Your wallet is noticeably lighter. And somewhere underneath the bags is the gallon of milk you originally came to buy. Sound familiar? Here's something most shoppers never realize. Grocery stores are carefully designed to encourage impulse spending. Nothing inside is random. The fresh bakery isn't near the entrance because it's convenient. It's there because the smell of warm bread makes you feel hungry. Hungry people buy more food. Essential items like milk and eggs, They're often placed near the back of the store. Why? Because the farther you walk, the more products you see. The more products you see, the more opportunities there are for impulse purchases. Even the music matters. Slow music encourages slower walking. Slower walking leads to more browsing. More browsing often leads to more spending. The lighting, the shelf placement, the colorful packaging, everything has one goal: to make you buy more than you planned. This doesn't only happen in grocery stores. Walk into a warehouse club, a clothing store, a home decor store, or even browse an online marketplace. The experience is built around one simple question: how do we get customers to add just one more thing? That's why successful spenders never rely on memory, they rely on preparation. They create a shopping list before leaving home. More importantly, they stick to it. It sounds ordinary, but it's incredibly powerful. Because every item on your list has already passed through logic. Every item added inside the store usually passes through emotion. Let's look at another story. David's Saturday shopping habit. David was convinced groceries had simply become too expensive. Every week his bill exceeded $250. No matter how hard he tried, it never seemed to get smaller. One weekend, his wife suggested something different. Instead of wandering through every aisle, they planned every meal for the week first. Then they wrote a detailed shopping list: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, nothing more. The first trip felt strange. They skipped entire aisles, ignored promotional displays, walked right past products they would normally throw into the cart. When they reached the checkout, their bill was almost $70 lower than usual. Nothing about their diet changed. They didn't eat less. They didn't sacrifice quality. The only thing they removed was impulse. Now imagine saving $70 every week. That's more than $3,600 every year. Not because you earned more money, because you stopped buying things that were never part of the plan. Here's an easy challenge for this week. Before your next shopping trip, spend 10 minutes writing everything you actually need. Then make yourself one promise. If it's not on the list, it doesn't go into the cart. You'll be surprised how much money stays in your account. Now here's where things become even more interesting. What if I told you, some companies don't even wait until you enter a store. Instead, they quietly follow you into your inbox. Your phone, your social media feeds, and even your text messages. They're constantly reminding you to spend money, whether you plan to or not. That's why habit number 7 may be one of the easiest financial wins you'll ever experience. Let's play a little game. Think about the last 3 promotional emails you received. Maybe they said, "Exclusive offer just for you. Your favorite items are back in stock. Flash sale. Today only." Or maybe, your phone buzzed. A shopping app sent a notification. "Don't miss this amazing deal." Then you opened Instagram. An influencer was showing off a brand new gadget. You switched to YouTube. An advertisement appeared before your video. Later that evening, TikTok convinced you that everyone suddenly needed the same water bottle, skincare product, or kitchen gadget. By bedtime, you weren't thinking about your financial goals anymore. You were thinking about buying something. That's not an accident. It's a strategy. Modern marketing has become incredibly personal. Algorithms study everything: what you click, how long you watch, what you search, even what you almost bought. Then they build a profile designed to predict exactly what you're most likely to purchase next. You aren't just shopping anymore, you're being studied. Every click teaches the algorithm something new. That's why resisting temptation feels so difficult. You're not fighting one advertisement. You're fighting thousands. Every single week. Financially disciplined people understand something important. Self-control is limited. Instead of depending on willpower every day, they reduce temptation altogether. They unsubscribe from marketing emails. They disable shopping notifications. They remove saved credit cards from online stores. They unfollow influencers who constantly encourage spending. They even delete shopping apps they rarely use. At first, it feels inconvenient, but after a few weeks, something incredible happens. No constant reminders, no pressure to buy now, no artificial urgency, and when you're not constantly being tempted, you naturally spend less. Lisa's inbox experiment. Lisa worked from home. Every morning she checked her email before starting work. Almost every day, there were at least 20 promotional emails. Fashion brands, home decor, electronics, beauty products, travel discounts. One afternoon she became curious. She searched her email inbox for the word sale. More than 6,000 promotional emails appeared. 6,000. She spent one weekend unsubscribing from nearly all of them. She turned off shopping notifications, deleted 3 shopping apps. 30 days later, she realized something. She hadn't stopped shopping because she suddenly became more disciplined. She simply stopped being reminded to shop every few hours. Her monthly spending dropped by nearly $400 without feeling deprived. Why? Because temptation had disappeared. Sometimes, the easiest way to avoid overspending isn't becoming stronger, it's making temptation weaker. If you're still watching, you're already doing something most people never do. You're learning how money actually works, instead of wondering why it's always disappearing. If this video has helped you so far, take just 1 second to hit the like button. It tells YouTube to recommend this video to more people who want to stop living paycheck to paycheck and start building real wealth. And I want to hear from you. Which habit surprised you the most so far? Was it shopping with a list, or removing the endless marketing that quietly influences your spending every single day? Leave your answer in the comments. I'd love to read it. Before we continue, let's quickly reflect on what we've uncovered so far. You've learned that overspending isn't usually about a lack of self-control. It's often the result of invisible systems working against you. Shopping when emotions are high, buying before thinking, walking into stores without a plan, allowing advertisements and notifications to constantly tempt you. Each habit seems harmless on its own, but together, they quietly steal thousands of dollars from the average person every year. Now we're about to discuss 2 habits that separate people who hope they'll save money from people who actually do. These habits don't rely on motivation, they rely on awareness. Because here's one of the biggest truths in personal finance. You can't fix what you refuse to measure. Let's begin. Imagine driving across the country without a map. No GPS, no road signs, no destination. You might enjoy the scenery for a while, but eventually, you'll get lost. That's exactly how millions of people manage their money. Every payday feels exciting. Bills are paid, a few purchases are made, money is transferred here and there. Then suddenly, it's the end of the month. The checking account is nearly empty, and the same question returns. Where did all my money go? The truth is, money rarely disappears all at once. It disappears in small amounts that seem insignificant. A $7 coffee, a $14 lunch delivery fee, a $12 streaming service you forgot to cancel, a $19 subscription that quietly renews every month, a $35 impulse purchase while browsing online. None of these expenses feel dangerous by themselves, but together, they become financial leaks. Think of a bucket filled with water. One tiny hole doesn't seem like a problem, but if you ignore enough small holes, eventually, the bucket becomes empty. Your finances work the same way. The people who build wealth don't necessarily earn more than everyone else. They simply notice the leaks before they become floods. Michael believed he was living frugally. He packed lunch most days. He didn't own luxury cars. He rarely traveled. So why wasn't he saving money? One evening, his friend challenged him. For the next 30 days, write down every single dollar you spend. Michael laughed. It won't make much difference. But he accepted the challenge anyway. The first week shocked him. Coffee on the way to work, energy drinks, convenience store snacks, parking fees, food delivery, random online purchases, streaming subscriptions, premium phone apps, tiny expenses, every single day. At the end of the month, Michael added everything together. The result left him speechless. He had spent almost $980 on purchases he barely remembered making, nearly $1,000, without buying anything truly life-changing. That moment changed everything. Not because he stopped spending completely, but because he finally became aware. Awareness created intention. Intention created better decisions. Within a year, Michael had saved over $8,000. Not through sacrifice, through visibility. Why tracking changes your behavior. Have you ever noticed that when you're trying to lose weight, the simple act of stepping on a scale makes you more conscious of your food choices? Money works exactly the same way. When you track your spending, your brain naturally becomes more careful. You begin asking questions like, do I really need this? Is there a cheaper alternative? Can this wait? Without tracking, those questions never appear. Spending becomes automatic. Tracking interrupts the autopilot, and that's where change begins. The 5-minute money meeting. Here's a habit you can start this week. Every Sunday evening, spend just 5 minutes reviewing your spending. Open your banking app, look through every transaction. Don't judge yourself, don't feel guilty, simply observe. Ask yourself 3 questions. What did I spend the most on this week? Which purchases genuinely improved my life? Which purchases added little or no value? Those 5 minutes may become the most profitable meeting you ever have. Because every dollar has a story. And if you don't tell your money where to go, it will quietly disappear on its own. Tracking your spending helps you understand your habits. But there's another habit that changes your behavior before you even make a purchase. It sounds old-fashioned. Many people think it's outdated. Yet behavioral scientists continue to find that it works. It's surprisingly simple, and it starts with something many people hardly carry anymore: cash. Let's do a quick experiment. Imagine someone places $100 in crisp bills into your hand. You can feel the weight. You can count every bill. Now imagine walking into a store. You pick up a pair of shoes costing exactly $100. The cashier asks for payment. You slowly hand over every bill. As the money leaves your hand, you actually feel the loss. Now imagine the same purchase with a credit card. Or your phone. Tap. Approved. Done. The transaction takes less than 2 seconds. Your brain barely notices. That's one reason digital payments can make it easier to overspend. The purchase feels almost invisible. Researchers have found that people often spend more when using cards than when using cash, because the emotional pain of paying is reduced. It's not that cards are bad. They're incredibly convenient. They can even offer rewards when used responsibly. The problem is convenience without awareness. The easier it is to spend, the easier it becomes to spend too much. Angela's envelope system. Angela was determined to get out of debt. She had tried budgeting apps, spreadsheets, financial planners. Nothing seemed to work. Then her grandmother suggested something surprisingly simple: use envelopes. Angela laughed. It sounded like advice from another generation, but she gave it a try. At the beginning of every month, she withdrew cash for groceries, entertainment, dining out, personal shopping. Each category had its own envelope. If the grocery envelope contained $500, that was the grocery budget. If the entertainment envelope held $150, that was all she could spend for fun. The first month felt uncomfortable. She became much more selective. Instead of buying things automatically, she paused. Every purchase meant watching cash physically leave the envelope. By the end of 3 months, something incredible happened. She wasn't just spending less, she was thinking differently. Every dollar suddenly had value. Within 18 months, Angela paid off more than $18,000 in consumer debt. Not because she earned more, because she finally felt every purchase. The power of friction. One of the greatest enemies of smart spending is frictionless buying. Think about how shopping works today. One-click checkout, saved payment methods, autofill, buy now buttons. Everything is designed to eliminate hesitation. But hesitation isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes, that brief pause is exactly what protects your wallet. Financially disciplined people often create healthy friction. They remove saved credit card information. They avoid shopping apps late at night. They force themselves to enter payment details manually. That extra minute gives logic time to catch up with emotion. And surprisingly often, they decide not to buy at all. Cash isn't about restriction, it's about awareness. This habit isn't about rejecting technology, it's about becoming intentional. Maybe you won't use cash for every purchase. That's okay. But consider using it for the categories where you tend to overspend. Restaurants, entertainment, coffee, impulse shopping. When the envelope is empty, the spending stops. No guilt, no excuses, just clarity. And clarity is one of the most valuable financial tools you'll ever have. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most people. Because understanding money is the first step toward mastering it. If this video is helping you rethink your spending habits, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who always wonders where their paycheck disappears every month. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one expense you know you could reduce starting this week? Sometimes one small change is all it takes to completely transform your financial future. Before we move into the final stretch of this journey, let's take a moment to appreciate how much has already changed. You've learned that building wealth isn't about making one perfect financial decision. It's about making hundreds of small, smart decisions consistently. So far, you've discovered how to avoid emotional spending, how to defeat impulse buying, how to shop with intention, how to eliminate constant marketing temptations, how to track every dollar, and how to make spending feel real again. Now we're about to explore 2 habits that completely change the way successful people think about money. These aren't budgeting tricks. They're mindset shifts. And once you understand them, you'll never look at spending the same way again. Let's imagine two different shoppers. The first walks into a clothing store. He spots a jacket marked down from $250 to $90. Without thinking twice, he says, "That's a great deal." He buys it. It hangs in his closet. Months pass. He wears it once, maybe twice. Eventually, it disappears behind dozens of other clothes. Now imagine another shopper. She sees a jacket that costs $180. At first glance, it seems expensive, but before reaching for her wallet, she pauses. Instead of asking, "How much does it cost?" she asks, "How often will I actually use this?" She realizes she'll wear it 3 or 4 times every week during the colder months. Over 3 years, that jacket will be worn hundreds of times. Suddenly, the purchase looks completely different. One person focused on the discount, the other focused on the value. That's the difference. Most people have been trained to chase low prices. Financially wise people chase long-term value. Because something isn't a bargain simply because it's cheap. It's only a bargain if it genuinely improves your life. The cost per use principle. There's a simple question wealthy people often ask before making a purchase. How much will this cost me every time I use it? Let's compare 2 purchases. A pair of fashionable shoes costs $50. You wear them twice. That's $25 every time you wear them. Another pair costs $180. You wear them 250 times over several years. That's less than 75 cents per wear. Which purchase was actually cheaper? The second one. Price and value are rarely the same thing. Think about your phone, your mattress, your work shoes, your laptop. These are things you use constantly. Buying quality can often save money because you're replacing them less often. But now think about trendy gadgets, novelty kitchen tools, decorations you bought because they looked nice online, or exercise equipment that became an expensive clothes rack after 2 weeks. Those purchases may have been inexpensive, but they delivered almost no value. Robert's cheap furniture lesson. Robert had just moved into his first apartment. Money was tight. He decided to buy the cheapest furniture he could find. At first, he felt proud. He had furnished his apartment for hundreds less than everyone else. But within 2 years, the couch sagged. The dining chairs became unstable. The coffee table scratched easily. Piece by piece, everything needed replacing. Meanwhile, his older sister had purchased higher quality furniture. She spent more in the beginning, but 5 years later, everything still looked almost new. Robert ended up spending nearly twice as much replacing items he thought were bargains. That's when he realized something. Cheap and affordable are not always the same thing. Sometimes paying less today costs you much more tomorrow. Ask these 3 questions before every purchase. The next time you're about to buy something, pause. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Will I still be using this 1 year from now? If the answer is no, think twice. Will this solve a real problem in my life, or is it simply entertaining me for a few minutes? And finally, am I buying this because it's valuable, or because it's discounted? Remember, a sale doesn't save you money if you weren't planning to buy the item in the first place. The cheapest purchase you'll ever make is the one you never needed. Now that we've changed the way we think about value, let's talk about one of the biggest reasons people stay broke, even after getting raises, landing better jobs, or earning significantly more money. It's a trap so common that millions of people fall into it without realizing. It's called lifestyle inflation. Picture this. You finally get the phone call you've been waiting for. Your boss smiles. Congratulations! You've been promoted. Your salary increases by $15,000 a year. You drive home feeling unstoppable. You tell your family. Everyone celebrates. For the first time in years, you finally feel like you're getting ahead. But then, something strange happens. A few weeks later, you convince yourself it's time for a nicer car. Your current one still works. But now, you deserve something better. Then comes the luxury apartment, the newest smartphone, designer clothes, weekend getaways, more expensive restaurants, streaming services you never used before. Before long, every extra dollar from your raise has already been assigned to a new expense. 6 months later, you receive another paycheck, and somehow, you still feel broke. Sound familiar? This phenomenon has a name, lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the greatest enemies of wealth. The invisible financial trap. Here's something fascinating. Many lottery winners eventually end up in financial trouble. Not because they didn't receive enough money, Because as their income exploded, their spending exploded even faster. They upgraded everything: bigger houses, luxury vacations, exotic cars, expensive hobbies. Eventually, their lifestyle became too expensive to maintain. Now think about ordinary life. The same thing happens on a smaller scale. Every raise becomes permission to spend more. Every promotion becomes an excuse to upgrade. Instead of improving their financial future, people simply increase their monthly obligations. The result? They work harder than ever, yet remain trapped. Two friends, two different futures. Let's meet Chris and Daniel. Both graduated from college together. Both started their careers earning around $55,000 a year. 5 years later, both had nearly doubled their income. Chris celebrated every raise. He leased luxury cars, bought designer watches, moved into larger apartments, took expensive vacations. His social media looked incredible. Everyone thought he was wealthy. Daniel celebrated differently. Every time he received a raise, he increased his automatic investments first. Then, if there was money left, he allowed himself a small lifestyle upgrade. Nothing extravagant, just intentional. 10 years later, Chris still looked successful. But behind the scenes, he carried thousands of dollars in debt. Daniel drove a modest car, lived below his means, had quietly built an investment portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. One looked rich, the other became wealthy. There's a huge difference. Rich is how life appears. Wealth is what remains after the bills are paid. The raise formula. Here's a simple strategy you can use the next time your income increases. Instead of spending every extra dollar, split it intentionally. For example, if your monthly income increases by $500, don't immediately increase your lifestyle by $500. Instead, consider investing or saving $300. Use $200 to improve your lifestyle. This way, you enjoy your success today while building freedom for tomorrow. Because every raise should improve your future, not just your spending. Delayed gratification, the wealth superpower. Perhaps the greatest financial habit of all is learning to delay gratification. Successful people don't say, "I can never have that." They simply say, "Not yet." That one phrase changes everything. Because delayed gratification isn't about deprivation. It's about choosing a bigger reward later instead of a smaller reward today. Every dollar you invest today becomes a worker that earns more money for you tomorrow. Every unnecessary purchase takes one of those workers away. The question isn't whether you can afford something. The question is, what is that purchase costing your future? Sometimes, the most expensive thing you'll ever buy is something you didn't truly need. If you've made it this far, first of all, congratulations. You're part of a very small group of people who are willing to learn what most people spend their entire lives ignoring. Let's think about everything we've covered. You learned how to stop emotional spending, how to beat impulse purchases, why shopping with a list protects your wallet, how marketers quietly influence your buying decisions, why tracking every dollar gives you control, how cash makes spending feel real, why value matters more than price, and how lifestyle inflation quietly steals your financial future. Those habits alone can completely transform your relationship with money. But now, we've reached the two habits that tie everything together. These are the habits that don't just help you spend less, they help you build lasting wealth. Let's start with a simple question. If your electricity went out tonight, what would you replace first? Your refrigerator? Your lights? Your phone charger? Probably. Now imagine your favorite sneakers suddenly went on sale. Would your life stop if you didn't buy them? Of course not. Yet here's the strange thing. Modern marketing has become incredibly good at making wants feel like needs. A newer phone, a larger television, another pair of shoes, the latest smartwatch, a designer handbag, a premium kitchen appliance. None of these things are inherently bad. The problem begins when we convince ourselves they're urgent. Because urgency is expensive. Let's meet someone else. Jessica's closet. Jessica loved fashion. Every month she bought new clothes. Not because her old clothes were worn out, because she constantly felt she had nothing to wear. One weekend, she decided to clean her closet. As she sorted through everything, she counted more than 120 pieces of clothing. Then she noticed something shocking. Nearly 40 items still had the original tags attached. She had spent thousands of dollars on clothes she had never worn. At that moment, she realized she hadn't been buying clothes. She had been buying possibilities. The possibility of becoming more confident, more stylish, more admired. But confidence doesn't come from a shopping bag. It comes from within. From that day forward, Jessica adopted one simple rule. Before buying anything, she asked herself, is this solving a problem or satisfying a temporary desire? That single question reduced her shopping by almost half. And for the first time in years, she finally started growing her savings account. The 3-question rule. Here's a powerful exercise. Before every non-essential purchase, ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1. Do I genuinely need this, or do I simply want it today? Question 2. Will I still be excited about this purchase 1 month from now? Question 3. If this item were full price, would I still buy it? That last question is incredibly important, because many people don't buy things they want. They buy things because they're discounted. Never confuse a sale with an opportunity. A discount on something you don't need is still money leaving your pocket. Financially disciplined people don't eliminate wants. They simply prioritize them. They understand there's a right time for enjoyment and a right time for restraint. Delayed gratification creates freedom. Imagine a child offered a marshmallow. The child is told, you can eat 1 marshmallow now, or wait 15 minutes and receive 2. Some children eat it immediately. Others wait. That famous experiment became a symbol of something powerful, the ability to delay gratification. Adults face the same challenge every single day. Buy now, or build something bigger later. Every unnecessary purchase asks the same question. Do you want temporary excitement or lasting freedom? Now we've arrived at the most powerful habit of all. It's incredibly simple. It requires no expensive software, no complicated budget, no financial degree. Yet this one habit has helped millions of people quietly build wealth, 1 paycheck at a time. Imagine you're standing in your kitchen with 10 glasses of water. Each glass represents your paycheck. 1 glass goes toward rent. Another pays the electricity bill. Another covers groceries, insurance, transportation, entertainment, dining out, streaming subscriptions, shopping, unexpected expenses. By the time everyone else has taken their share, what's left for you? Usually, very little. That's how most people manage money. They pay everyone else first, then hope there's something left to save. But hope isn't a financial strategy. Wealthy people reverse the process. The moment they receive their paycheck, the first payment goes to themselves. Not for shopping, not for vacations, for their future, savings, investments, retirement, emergency funds. Whatever their financial goal may be, everything else gets what's left. This habit changes everything, because saving becomes automatic, not optional. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus worked as an auto mechanic. He wasn't wealthy. He didn't earn 6 figures. In fact, some months were difficult. But Marcus had one habit. Every payday, before paying a single bill, he transferred 10% of his income into an investment account. At first, it didn't seem like much. Some friends laughed. What difference can 10% make? Marcus ignored them. Year after year, he stayed consistent. Sometimes the amount was small. Sometimes it was larger. But he never skipped it. Meanwhile, his coworkers earned similar salaries. Most spent everything they made. Every raise disappeared. Every bonus was celebrated with new purchases. 20 years later, Marcus wasn't just financially comfortable. He had accumulated hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments. Not because he earned dramatically more, because he made one decision before anyone else touched his paycheck. He paid himself first. Consistency accomplished what income alone never could. Automation is your best friend. Here's the secret. Don't rely on memory. Don't rely on motivation. Automate it. The moment your paycheck arrives, schedule an automatic transfer. Even if it's just $25 or $50, increase it over time. Because wealth isn't built through occasional heroic efforts. It's built through automatic consistency. Remember this. You don't accidentally become wealthy. You intentionally become wealthy. 1 paycheck at a time. Here's something I want you to remember long after this video ends. Overspending isn't a character flaw. It doesn't mean you're irresponsible. It doesn't mean you're bad with money. Most people were never taught how money actually works. Schools teach algebra, history, science. But very few teach financial behavior. So people learn from advertisements, social media, friends, and influencers who often encourage spending instead of saving. But today, you've chosen a different path. You now understand something many people never realize. Every dollar you spend has two jobs. It can improve your life today, or it can create opportunities for your future. The most financially successful people don't choose one or the other. They learn to balance both. Because money isn't about deprivation, it's about freedom. Freedom to say yes to opportunities. Freedom to leave a stressful job. Freedom to help your family. Freedom to sleep peacefully at night. And that freedom begins with small daily habits. Imagine two seeds planted on the same day. The first seed is watered every single day. Just a little. Nothing dramatic. The second seed is ignored. At first, there isn't much difference. Both patches of soil look almost identical. A week passes. Still nothing impressive. A month passes. One seed finally begins to sprout. Years later, the first seed has become a towering tree. The second never had a chance. Your financial life works the same way. Every dollar you save, every impulse purchase you avoid, every investment you make, every habit you build, is another drop of water on the tree you're growing. At first, the progress seems invisible. Then one day, people look at your success and say, "You're lucky." But you and I know the truth. Luck didn't build that tree. Small habits did. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you. You're investing something even more valuable than money, your time. And I hope this video has given you practical tools that will help you stop overspending and start building lasting wealth. If you found value in this video, hit the like button so YouTube shares it with more people. Subscribe to Ego Money for weekly videos on personal finance, investing, wealth building, and financial freedom. Turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And now I have one question for you. Which of these 10 habits will you start practicing today? Tell us in the comments. Your answer might inspire someone else to take the first step toward financial freedom. Remember, you don't become wealthy because of one big decision. You become wealthy because of hundreds of small decisions repeated consistently over time. Thank you for watching. Stay disciplined, stay patient, keep growing your money, and I'll see you in the next video.